Hey everybody, welcome back to the Budget Bladesman. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a different video today. We're going to be looking at American-made knives right around $100. Now obviously there's more knives that are, in that ballpark, but these are the main contenders when most people think about everyday carry 3-inch knives that are American-made. So we'll open these up and we'll go over some of the differences on these guys. So first we have the Gerber Fastball. Next, we have the Benchmade Mini Griptilian. And lastly, we have the Spyderco Para 3 Lightweight. Okay, so let's go over some of the differences. Now first, let's go over the similarities. So these are all right around 3 inches, with the Fastball and the Spyderco being right at 3 inches. The Benchmade is just a little bit under at 2.9 inches. They're all right around $100, with the Gerber being right at 100, the Spyderco at 95, and generally the Benchmade's around 102 or 105. So all right around $100, all are right around 3 inches. And this is, they're all American made. Okay, so let's kind of go over some of the differences. So first, as we covered in the previous video for the Benchmade, this is an older version that has 154 cm steel, but all the current versions have S30V, as well as the Fastball all have S30V. The Spyderco has a CTS BD1N steel, which is still good steel, but the steels on these two are slightly better. So obviously we're going to go over the lining, or the lockup I should say. So this one right here has a liner lock. So the Fastball has a liner lock. The Benchmade has the access lock. You can see right there. And the Spyderco has the compression lock. You can see that's the compression lock. So basically the compression lock is a reverse version, I guess you'd say, of the liner lock that we have here. So you can see also that the opening mechanisms are different. This has the flipper, as you can see right there. This particular model has a thumb hole, but the mini grips also do come with thumb studs, and of course the Spyderco has the Spidey hole. So the handles are obviously different. You have the aluminum handles here. You have the FRN on the Spyderco, and on the Benchmade you have, they just call it polymer, so basically a different version of plastic. So you have that. As far as let's close these back up. I know it'll kind of be going back along forth, flipping these over and showing you guys the other sides too. If we look at the pocket clips, you can see that the Gerber and the Benchmade have just your standard, style pocket clip. You can order the deep carry pocket clip from Benchmade. I think it's like $5, unless subject to change at the time of this video, but I believe last time I checked they were about $5 from Benchmade. And then you have the deep carry pocket clip on the Spyderco. You can see that, and it is, as we went over in the previous video, pretty deep rise. So I mean, that's kind of the differences. Obviously they're all fairly thin. I would have to say that if we look at all three of them, let's see if we can get them all three in here. That I would say that probably the Fastball is the thinnest, although the Spyderco is pretty close. You can see that. You can see they're all pretty close, but it just seems, I don't know if it's just because of the scales, the aluminum scales, but it feels thinner in hand for sure. I mean the Spyderco doesn't feel, thick or anything, and neither does the Griptilian, but for this one it just seems a little bit thinner. So we kind of have that. Let's get a little different look at them this way. So if we just go end to end, it also, if we look at it real closely, it looks like the Benchmade has the shortest profile of all three of the knives. You kind of put these two together, you kind of see just overall, actually that's pretty good right there. You can kind of see that the Spyderco has the tallest profile, and then just the way it kind of comes down, the Gerber's next, and then the Benchmade has the shortest profile of the knives. As far as diameter, obviously because of the way the shape of the Spyderco blade, this is going to have the widest. We go this way, it's going to have the widest profile in there. can see, I mean, even if we flip this over so you can kind of get more, it's still, you know, a little bit more even if you take into account that flipper tab. So, and then if we do the Benchmade, even though, again, this is, you know, similar style with the thumb hole. And I would imagine, it's been a while since I've had one with the thumb studs, but I would imagine with the thumb stud one, it's going to be an even narrower blade. So you can see there, this has the widest, and probably, and it's pretty close. I would say it's pretty close. I mean, if we get it even the other side, I would say ever so slightly that maybe the Benchmade has just a little bit. So if you're looking for the smallest overall profile, it's probably going to be the Benchmade. Like I said, the thinnest profile, for me, it just seems like it's the Fastball. So, you know, we've talked in the other videos, we've talked about, you know, the quality of the knives. For me, the one I've heard the least amount about is the Spyderco. Obviously, you know, not only myself, but plenty of other YouTubers and just reviewers have talked about the issues with the Gerber. I really like the overall design of the Gerber. It's a really cool looking knife. It fits really good in the hand. Form and function are fine, are completely fine, and it is a good knife. But it's just the little details that we've talked about in the previous videos. You can see some of the machining on the knife right there just isn't up to par. You know, if we look at the tip of the blade, you just focus that there. You see the tip of that blade, just a little bit more. The grind angle on that side is just a hair more. So it's just, you know, those issues. And then even on the Benchmade, you know, it does have, you can see right there on the ends of this one where just the molding, you know, came out funky. So I mean, this kind of the difference is I really haven't heard or seen anything on the Spyderco, so you know, keep that in mind. There has been more things. Like I said, I really do like the overall shape and profile of this knife. It's just, you know, if you're spending $100 on your first knife, you don't want to have those form and fit issues. I mean, it wasn't my first $100 knife, so it wasn't as big of a deal. I mean, it's still, you know, like I said, nitpicking more or less. But if you wanted to come, you know, through a USA made factory, you want them to make sure that they're paying attention to those details. I mean, even Benchmade, like I said, the molding, and then I've read things on, you know, different forums and heard different reviews where they've said the centering is off on the knife. This one seems to be, you know, perfectly fine. But then they also said that the Omega spring, where you can kind of see the spring right here, can be pretty fragile, and it can break on you. There are other companies that, well, since that Benchmade lost the patent on that there are other companies that have actually probably done a better job with this design. Now that they know Benchmade's no longer the sole owner of that design. You know, overall feel in the pocket, I mean, it's, you know, like I said, probably the Benchmade is the smallest. The Spyderco, to me, because it has a deep red pocket clip, I mean, it's, once it's in there, you're not going to see it. So if you're looking for something that's more concealable, this is probably what you're going to want to go with. I will say that, you know, liner locks tend to be a little bit stronger of a lock. And since this is basically a reverse liner lock, you can see, you know, obviously this front of the blade, the back of the blade bit, this is a full liner. I mean, and this is a nested, it looks like a nested compression liner. That, I believe, if you look in the blade. Yeah, actually, it looks like it's pretty much the full. It's not like this one where it's actually machined. So, so if you're looking for the strongest knife, it probably would be the Gerber. You see, full liner, I mean, this thing's all the way down. You know, it's a full piece of machined aluminum as far as the liner goes. So if you're looking for the strongest knife, this is probably going to be your option. Now, which one has the most name recognition? I think most people, if that's what you're looking for, you know, most people are probably going to know the name Benchmade. A lot of people probably know Spyderco too, but for whatever reason, the Benchmades, just to see them have a little more cachet, you pull that out, obviously you see it's Benchmade, and people are going to be like, oh, that's cool, that's a Benchmade. I personally, I'm a big fan of Spyderco, so, I dig the Spydercos, but I just think if you're looking for something more of a name recognition, you're probably going to want to go with the Benchmade. I mean, all three of these are pretty good knives. Like I said, if you can get over the fit and finish of this knife, then it's a great knife too. You just have to look past those finishing issues. I said, if you want probably this, like I said, the strongest worker, it's going to probably be this guy. Oh, I also forgot to mention they all do have, if you're a lanyard guy, all three of them do have lanyard holes. I'm not a lanyard guy, so I tend to overlook that, but if you are one of those guys, it does have a lanyard hole as well. Like I said, if you also, on the plus side for the Benchmade, is there are more versions available. Like I said, this is just one style, the thumb hole sheep's foot. They also, I believe it's a drop point that they have that has the thumb studs. They do have coated blades. The Spyderco, it also has a coated blade, and I think the only other really option at the moment is if it's either this, the coated blade, and I believe they have it in a serrated blade, coated or uncoated as well. The Fastball here, it does have another version, but unfortunately that's well out of the price range. They do have a cleaver style blade that's also a flipper. That's a Fastball, but it's a cleaver style blade, and it's 20 CV steel, so a much better steel, but I believe that one's about $130. So you're looking, $30 past what we're looking at here. So just keep that in mind. I mean, there is another version, but it's more expensive with a better steel. For right around $100, these are kind of our options. And even the one on the Benchmade with the thumb studs and the different blade, it's still going to be right around $100. Personally, if you watch the video on the Benchmade, this is my 4th or 5th Benchmade. So it's not, I've sold them, got them, whatever. I got this knife basically kind of to do a review and then do this video. I don't know if this will necessarily stick around. I do like this Gerber. It's just, like I said, it's kind of a good thing to have around to show quality issues. So just, keep that in mind. And the Spyderco, I've probably had the longest of all three. So that kind of tells you that for me personally, I like the Spyderco. It also comes in, I did forget to mention this, the Spyderco comes in at the lightest, I believe. We're looking at 2.4 ounces for this one. The Benchmade is just a little bit heavier at 2.56, and the Fastball with the aluminum scales is obviously going to be the heaviest at 2.79 ounces. So this is the lightest knife out of the three as well. So that's just where I tend to go. Like I said, if you want name recognition, you're probably going to go Benchmade. If you want the toughest and you need the sturdiest, I would say the Fastball is going to be the one. For basically just general everyday carry, my personal pick is the Para 3 Lightweight. I just really like this knife. Also, I want to say, I know some guys are into fidget factor too. It's kind of hard to do it on camera just because of the angle I have. But obviously, almost got myself, did it? Nope. But, you can flick this out, but it's really hard for me to, there we go, do it on camera. But, you can kind of fidget with this knife. The same thing with this knife. You can flick it out, close it up. So I would say, if you're looking for a fidgety knife, it's going to be one of these two. But in general, I'd say if I'm going to pick one knife, just overall, for me, it's going to be this one, just because of how I use my knives. I'm not real heavy with them. I like something I can mess around with. And like I said, this deep carry pocket clip makes it completely disappear in your pocket. So, this is, like I said, this is just my opinion. All three of these are really good knives. And like I said, I'll just say, for me, everyday carry is the best is this one. Name recognition, it's probably going to be the Benchmade, and just the hardest use one would probably be the Fastball. Like I said, these are just my opinion, guys, but I thought this would be a fun video to do something a little bit different, do something a little bit longer. We're coming in almost 14 minutes here, 15 minutes. So if you guys stick around for the whole video, thank you, appreciate it, and we'll check you next time.